Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born on January 17, 1899, in Brooklyn, New York, to Italian immigrant parents. His father, Gabriele Capone, was a hard-working barber, and his mother, Teresa, a dedicated seamstress. The bustling streets of Brooklyn shaped young A.L.'s early years, exposing him to both the promise of the American dream and the harsh realities of poverty and crime. Growing up in a rough neighborhood filled with corruption and gang activity, Capone was drawn to the life of the streets from a young age. While he attended school, he was more interested in the lessons he learned outside the classroom, where power, respect, and fear ruled. At just 14, after striking a teacher who had insulted him, he dropped out of school, marking the beginning of a path that would eventually lead him to infamy. With little education and limited job prospects, young Capone found himself running errands for local gangsters, quickly earning their trust. The vibrant but dangerous streets of Brooklyn became his training ground, where he learned the brutal rules of survival, the art of negotiation, and the power of intimidation. It was here that he first encountered members of the notorious 5 Points Gang, a connection that would shape his future in the underworld. After leaving school, Capone worked several odd jobs, including as a clerk, a candy store assistant, and a bowling alley pin setter. The regular life never appealed to him. He craved power and excitement. His real education came under the mentorship of Johnny Torrio, a well-connected gangster with a sharp mind for business and an iron grip on the criminal world. Torrio introduced him to the 5 Points Gang, one of the most dangerous and influential criminal organizations in New York. Under their wing, Capone learned the trade: gambling, extortion, smuggling, and violence. But it was an incident at a local nightclub that would leave a permanent mark on him. During a heated argument over a woman at the Harvard Inn, a man named Frank Galluccio slashed Capone's face with a knife, leaving him with 3 deep scars. From that moment on, he would be known as Scarface, a nickname he hated, to the public. The scars became a symbol of his violent lifestyle, but Capone himself would always cover them with makeup or tilt his head in photographs to hide the marks of his early struggles. His reputation grew, and soon, Capone was handling more serious work, collecting debts, organizing illegal gambling operations, and ensuring that Torrio's enemies knew their place. His rise in the underworld was inevitable, and it was only a matter of time before he was given a bigger role in an even larger criminal empire. In 1919, Johnny Torrio the potential for a criminal empire in Chicago and invited Capone to join him. The city was ripe with opportunity, especially with the passage of Prohibition, which banned the sale of alcohol. The illegal liquor trade became a gold mine, and under Torrio's guidance, Capone quickly climbed the ranks. He started as an enforcer, but soon took on more responsibilities, managing speakeasies, bribing officials, and ensuring rivals were dealt with swiftly. Capone was different from most gangsters. He was charismatic, well-dressed, and knew how to manipulate public perception. He made connections with politicians, businessmen, and law enforcement, securing protection for his growing empire. Despite his criminal activities, he presented himself as a generous benefactor, donating to charities, opening soup kitchens, and even paying hospital bills for the poor. However, behind the scenes, he ruled with an iron fist. Those who opposed him either vanished or met violent ends. By the mid-1920s, Torrio was seriously wounded in an assassination attempt. Realizing it was time to step down, he handed control of Chicago's underworld to his protege, Al Capone. With Torrio stepping aside, Capone wasted no time in cementing his power. He expanded his empire, controlling speakeasies, distilleries, and gambling dens. His influence stretched far beyond the underworld. Police officers, politicians, and judges were on his payroll. The public viewed him as a larger-than-life figure, a mix of a ruthless gangster and a benevolent benefactor. But Chicago was a battlefield. Rival gangs sought to claim territory, and Capone responded with brutal efficiency. Street wars, drive-by shootings, and bombings became common as Capone's men fought for dominance. The newspapers painted him as a gangster king, and he thrived in the limelight, reveling in his celebrity status. He frequented nightclubs, throwing lavish parties, rubbing shoulders with Hollywood stars, and spending extravagantly on custom suits and diamond-studded accessories. Yet, behind the glitz, blood flowed in the streets. Capone's organization operated with calculated brutality. Anyone who opposed him was either bribed or eliminated. He lived by one principle: loyalty or death. His reign of terror was about to reach its peak.